To all who listen to this happy pod, welcome. My name is Noah Parker, and this is my world of wonder. Today, I'm joined by my sister, Marci.
Hello.
Jokingly referred to as my twin sister. She's 2 years older than me, but I mean, we were the two middle kids growing up, and we're from a family of, I guess, yeah, we still are. But we grew up in a family of 8, and we were, she's the middle of 3 girls, and I'm the middle of 5 boys, and we happened to land right in the middle. Number 4 and 5. 4 and 5.
4 and 5, yeah.
can't count. So we're in the middle of the family. So we were the middle kids growing up, and so that meant we ripped each other's heads off constantly, but we also were the best of friends. Yeah. You know, life happens, and you get interested in different things, but we like to hang out still. We just don't make YouTube videos as often anymore.
Oh, I miss our YouTube days.
Me too.
I'm not gonna lie.
If you ever got the hankering to film one of those stupid drive to McDonald's,
dude, those are so fun.
If you want to do that again, just let me know.
All right.
I'm totally here to do it again.
You're making me tear up a little bit.
I know. It's okay. But
it's fine.
So today we thought it would be fun. And actually, I'm going to have Marci with me every time we do this particular format of podcast.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yay,
surprise.
I love that. Okay.
It's, well, I guess maybe not every time. Raylan might come in every now and again, but with her kids and husband and stuff, it's harder. It's a little harder to get her in. But we really grew up. I should probably explain what's happening first.
Oh, yes.
So what we're doing is starting with Brink. We are doing what did I call them? Retrospective reviews of Disney Channel original movies. DCOMs, as they were called when we were young, and we really watched all of these together.
I've recently rewatched a lot of these because like once Disney Plus came out, I was like, I need to watch everything.
Right? I've watched a few, but that's kind of what sparked this. Is I was like, man, some of the movies that used to come, some of those DCOMs were really, really good.
Yeah.
And I've forgotten about them. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I want to rewatch them. But then the podcast started, and I was like, this would be a really great podcast format.
Yeah. To
throw out every month or so, maybe once a month, maybe every other month, however our schedules pan out. That happens a lot. Sorry, I burp sometimes, and I gotta blow it out of the microphone.
Just burp into the microphone. Let's see what happens.
Right? We lose our 4 listeners.
I'm one of those listeners.
I'm one of the other ones. Anywho, I think actually, in all seriousness, I think on average, about 20 people listen to the podcast across the 3 platforms.
Nice. That's really good.
And
actually.
I don't know 20 people, so. But yeah,
told 20 people.
Right. So we are going to be retrospectively reviewing DCOMs. And I decided to start with Brink because when you scroll to the end of the DCOM list on Disney Plus, Brink is the first one. So I think it's the first one on there. There's a couple before Brink when you Google it, but Brink is the first one on there. Okay. And I also felt that it was appropriate because Brink was the first one that came out while I was on the planet.
Yeah, since you've been born.
Yeah, so Brink came out in 1998. It was directed by Greg Beeman. I don't know. Beeman. Beeman. Like Batman, but a bee. And it was produced by Fake Real Films and Mandeville Films. I don't think I've heard anything about either of those two in the last 23 years.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure Fake Real Films did a lot of DCOM.
I think so too. I think they were
early or late 90s.
We will
2000s.
Find out soon enough.
Yeah.
Because we've got a list to go through.
We have a big list.
Yeah, and also like I was trying to think of things that are not easy, but like reliable podcasts, and like, because like one of the podcasts that I did with Adriana was ranking our favorite 6 parks in all domestic, all 6 domestic Disney parks. And then me and Caleb, 2 weeks ago, I winked at her because we're actually recording this the day before me and Caleb are recording the one that I'm about to talk about.
Oh.
So that one, so the one that I'm recording with Caleb tomorrow will come out tomorrow on the 20th, or not on the 20th, not tomorrow. Friday the 20th. Oh, okay. And then I have a special one that they will have already seen, the Nightmare Before Christmas interview with Kim will come out on the 27th, and our podcast will be the put it on my calendar. Whatever the first Friday of November is, I want to say it's the 3rd or 4th, somewhere in there. 3rd or 4th or 5th. I don't remember.
It's somewhere between the 3rd and the 6th.
Yes, I put it on my calendar.
Okay.
So yes, ours will be coming out after a lot of things. But anyway, so we've done those two, and it's like you can only rank Disney rides so many times before you run out of different ways to rank them.
Yeah.
And then like the hot ones with me and Rick was a pretty one-off thing. I don't think I'm ever doing anything like that again.
Please don't eat in the camera or in the microphones again.
I apologize for that. I mean, it was fun in the moment, and listening to it, I enjoyed listening to it again.
As a YouTube video, it's very entertaining.
Yeah.
As a podcast,
yeah, not so much. I maybe should have cut out the chewing in there, but
mute it.
Yeah, something. But
it's okay.
It is what it is. But so this format where we're reviewing these films is going to be a pretty reliable way, and there's dozens of DCOMs. So we've got, if we do it once a month, we've got a couple years worth of podcasts in there.
For sure.
Unless I run out of other things to do and we end up doing this every week, then
honestly,
then we'll shorten it up a little bit. But it'd be fun. But that's not what I want for the podcast though. So I'm crossing my fingers that we don't get to that point. But anyway, I have gone on a tangent far enough. So yeah, Brink, directed by Greg Beeman. Yeah, so a couple of the main actors, I guess, that we should probably list off were Eric Von Deeten, who played Andy Brinker. And this kid was like 16 in 1998, and I was 1, so he's an old man now.
Was he only 16?
I don't know. I'm assuming he was around that age.
Probably.
Because when they were doing DCOMs back then, I feel like they casted the age more often.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like they were still like kind of older.
Maybe so. I don't know. It's hard. Well, I think Val was. 100%.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was played by Sam Horrigan. Yeah. Sam Horrigan, who aged He aged. He looks like he aged in the 90s and he stayed there.
Yeah.
For the last 23 years.
He almost looks like an action figure in this picture.
Oh, it's 25 years, isn't it?
Yeah,
I put 23 years later at the top, and I'm like, I don't know what I was counting.
98 was definitely 25.
It was definitely 25 years ago. Let me
Not that we're that old, but
I'll be adjusting that. You guys will never know because the title will have been this the whole time for you guys. But anyway, and then Peter was played by Patrick Levis. Yeah, Patrick Levis. Excellent. Jordy was played by Asher Gold, and they don't have his picture on IMDb, so that's kind of curious. And then I'm going to jump down a second to Gabriella, who is played by Christina Vidal. Or Vidal.
Why are there two Gabriellas on here?
Are there two Gabriellas? Oh, there are two Gabriellas. That I didn't notice that when I pulled this off. This is the reason that I jumped down is because on IMDb, Gabriella is the last two, or they're in the bottom 5 of characters.
Yeah.
Right?
The last 2 don't even have character names on them.
Yeah. But then Mrs. Dilemma, who is her mom, is listed above her.
Yeah.
And I'm like, she was a pretty vital part of the movie. Why is she listed so low? Unless neither of these are actually the girl who played.
I feel like Christina.
She looks like her, right?
Yeah, that looks like her.
I don't know who this Fabiola. Oh, Fabiola de Silva is probably her stunt double.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
But why are any other stunt doubles listed on here? There's no way they did their own
I think
stunts.
that's what Chris Ufland, and Jake Elliott. I think those are the stunt doubles. And then I'll get to it later.
Okay.
But I am fairly confident that Sam Horrigan, and who was the other guy? Arnie, I think, who was played by Joey Cimarron. I'm 99% sure that they were doing all their own stunts and they were actually rollerblading, because I don't need to get into it later. We can talk about it right now because it's my podcast and I can do what I want. You watched it twice, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice that whenever Val and Arnie are rollerblading and doing all these crazy tricks and stuff, they'll do close-ups on Val and Arnie? You will see their face as they're flying through the air. But when like Brink and Peter and Jordy and Gabriella are doing their tricks and stunts and everything, they're much wider shots, so you don't get very close. But
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, I noticed it. Like, it was one of the last things I noticed before the movie ended. But like when I watched it again, I was like, they're doing it throughout the entire film. Every time Val is doing something, you get close-ups of Val. And so I think he was actually a rollerblader. I didn't research it. I didn't Google it. I probably could have. It's probably not hard to do, but the fact that he had close-ups and so did Arnie, and none of the other skaters had close-ups while they were doing stunts makes me think that they did their own stunts.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And then
there's always one person who
that's what I'm saying.
Like, does their own stunts.
There's always one. The last person that I wanted to point out on the cast list before we go down further and we talk about them as we need to. Excuse me. That is Katie Valding.
Yes.
Who was Katie Brinker.
Yes.
Right? And I love it because in this era, she was like the Disney Channel little sister.
She really was, because she was also in Smart House.
Yeah, which will be like, I think it'll be a few down the road. Yeah. But yeah, she was the little sister.
She played Angie in Smart House.
And now I'm like, I wonder how many more times we're going to see her, because I bet it's more than once.
It's probably more than just those two.
I also feel like David Groff, who played Ralph Brinker, I've seen him in something else.
Yeah, he's been in other DCOMs for sure.
I'm assuming, yeah.
He's also kind of like again. Yeah, he was like a Disney dad.
Disney dad. Yeah. So that is some of the cast and the cameraman, or not the cameraman. Oh, I didn't put down any cameraman. I meant to do that too. Maybe I'll add them at the end if I remember. In the production companies, but we're gonna go into a quick breakdown of Brink, and then
I'm so sorry. Phil Hahn on here.
Phil Hahn.
Pedestrian on Pier.
Oh yes.
Why does he look that familiar? Who is that?
That's a good question. He honestly looks like King Charles when he was younger, but I don't think that's what it is.
No, I know who he is. He's That's So Raven, their teacher that spits.
Is that him?
That's him.
People, please pay attention, people. Yes. I can see it. Yes. I can see it.
I'm pretty sure that's him.
We can double check, but I think you're right. Awesome. So we're going to jump down. Yeah, I know most. I don't see, that's my thing. I don't know the Disney Channel as much as I know like the Disney movies.
Yeah. I love Disney.
Oh, and then also Tom Virtue, who is the science teacher in this, but he was the dad on Even Stevens. So that's another person I'll just throw out there because I love him. Anyway, so yeah, a quick overview. This is pulled off of IMDb. It's the overview you get from IMDb, and it goes a little something like this. Andy Brinker, Eric Von Detten, is the leader of a group of inline skaters who disapprove of corporate sponsorship, believing that skating should be done for fun rather than profit. But when Brink's family starts having financial problems, he's forced to compromise his principles and join a sponsored team led by arrogant Val, Sam Horrigan. Not knowing his motivation, Brink's friends are stunned by the decision and collectively shun him until the truth comes out. Now, really quick, I will just add to that. They did not stop shunning him after they found out why he did it.
Correct.
And I thought that was an interesting note.
He was like, my family needed the money. And they were like,
we don't care, money. Bro. Yeah, like, basically.
You sold out.
Basically.
Gabriella literally tells him that. She's
and
like,
I mean,
you're just another sellout.
Yeah.
Because like, she's like, what happened to soul skating?
Right.
Because they're supposed to be what they considered soul skaters was just like, we do this for fun.
It's not for the money. If we get money, cool, but that's not why we're here. Yeah. I thought that was cool. I enjoyed the story overall. It's a good story. Yeah. Although the thing that I do want to say is that I do completely understand. You know, like like as an adult, you know, like these are kids.
Yeah.
Anyway, but as an adult, like you're like, I understand, like you're like, oh, my family needs money. Right.
Yeah. This is how
I'm really good at this thing that I can go make money doing.
Right.
So why would I do anything else?
Yeah.
But like also remembering those values are kind of important. Like I wouldn't sell my soul right now to go work as an editor for Universal. No, but like, you know, like I wouldn't go do like naughty films as an editor just because I want to be an editor and because I have.
Well, it's a step in the door.
I can make money.
Foot in the door, you know.
It's like that is not my values. Like I don't stand behind that. I'm not here for it. Like I wouldn't want to do that. So like, but as an adult, that's really simple to see.
Yeah.
But as a kid, like you're kind of.
He just wanted to help his family. And like,
now
he didn't think about like, oh, I could just go find a job.
Right.
He's like, this is a job and it's something I'm good at. It's something I can do.
There totally were some like selfish motives where he was like, I can get new skates.
Right.
And like, So there obviously were some selfish motives, but I don't think it was mostly that.
I feel like Val knew his family was.
I got that feeling too. Like,
because he hardcore manipulates him into joining.
It's like he knew something that.
Yeah.
It's like, it's almost seemed like he knew that he knew, but he didn't know.
Yeah.
Where like, it's weird.
Honestly, sorry, I don't know what just happened to my
Hey, that's okay.
Honestly, I think it was that he was jealous of Brink because he knew that he was good. And so when Boomer gets hurt and he's like, hey, we're having skate auditions, but you guys aren't invited. Ha 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 ha.
Right.
And then later they're like, where's your secret weapon? He's like, he'll show. I know he will.
Right.
Because he knows that
he knew that
he's jealous of Brink, but Brink's jealous of him.
Right.
And so he like plays with it.
Kind of a genius.
But like, all manipulators are geniuses, right?
For real.
If you think about it that way.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So like, he's like a terrible person. I'm sorry, I just blocked my whole face.
Hey, no, that's okay. We're not on stage here. Like, I've told people this before, and I'm sorry to you people watching on YouTube right now. The YouTube video is secondary, 100%.
Okay.
You know, like, we're here for the audio podcast.
Okay.
The video is like, it's an added bonus. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's fun, but like.
But it's not like.
With the camera issues I've been having, I think the podcast with Lauren was the first podcast I had.
Oh.
Where I had 3 camera angles.
Oh.
So, yeah.
That's fun.
Yes.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that like the way he manipulates him is like, because he knows that he's good and he knows that he's jealous of him for getting paid to skate.
Right.
Sort of. Even though he's like, he doesn't care about the money. But he's like, how cool would it be if I did get paid? Because like.
Right.
Brink knows that he's good too.
Right.
You know? Also, I just have to put this in real quick.
Go for it.
When they are in the lunch, are we going to talk about the movie or like?
Yeah, we can. Okay. But like I said,
this is my podcast. Do you want to like go from the beginning or?
Sure. Yeah, let's do that.
Let's go from the beginning.
Let's go from the beginning. I think my first note here probably takes place before the lunchroom scene.
Oh yeah, is it
about Gabriella?
Yeah, that's before.
I'll throw that in first because
that's like towards the beginning.
I forgot about it.
Yeah,
I literally forgot about it, but as soon as they said it out loud, I was like, "Of course!"
Yeah, because the beginning is them going to.
They go to the pit.
The pit, which is the skate park,
and then they get chased out by X-Blades.
And it's the last day of summer, and they miss the bus because Brink is running late, and then they're all mad at Brink, and then he's like, when you woke up this morning, did you say, I'm gonna talk or I'm gonna skate? Yeah, that's what it is.
What a random.
And then they skate. First of all, he runs from his house to this bus stop. I don't know how far that is.
Right.
And then on top of that, he's like, let's put on our skates and skate to.
Like, why didn't you just skate to the bus stop?
Which is by like Venice Beach or something like that.
It's a different name, but I forget. It's a beach, yeah.
Yeah.
What I found funny is that he ran to the bus stop, and then I need to double check because I'm pretty sure after he gets there, they put on their skates and they go the way that he just came from.
I think so too.
And so I'm like, why
wouldn't you just?
I guess
meet them
if that's
at
the only bus stop, but.
But like, if you're that close, why not have your friends meet you there?
Right.
Then if you're late, they don't miss the bus.
For real, you might as well. And you guys are soul skaters, so I don't know why they would ride the bus anyway.
Yeah.
It seems like the skating there would have been the obvious choice to begin with.
To quote Jordy, it's like 1,000,000 miles away. Which, like, I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that. Even if it's like a mile away, I'm like, that's so far.
For real, honestly. But yeah, so then we fast forward to the first day of school after they've done some training and Jordy fails at his 540. Peter fails at his 540 for the umpteenth time. That apparently, and Brink is so disappointed.
It's supposed to be a 540 inverted, which means it's a 540 upside down.
Right.
I don't know if you.
I mean, there's minor details that I caught. But no, I got it. But I was like, I'm like, how long have you been working on this?
Yeah.
Like,
But
I mean,
also,
I'm also like, Brink, that looks really hard, and you're not even doing it. So
yeah, but like,
he gave him a lot of
yeah,
crap.
and they get kicked out of the pit because
Team X Blades is doing their magazine photo shoot. Yeah. So then we fast forward to the school, and Gabriella, who they've only ever seen, I'm assuming, in baggy pants and a t-shirt, is wearing a dress. And she has this line where she is talking about how her mom mentions that in Peru, all girls wear dresses on their first day of school. She goes, Mom, this isn't Peru. And she's like, it is if I say it is. And I remember that line so distinctly. Now that I heard it, I'm like, that has been living in the back of my head for years.
Rent-free
decades.
in our heads, yes.
For real.
Yeah.
And then I just like, anytime I hear the word Peru anywhere, my ears perk up because my wife, Adriana, is from Peru. And so I paused it right then and there because she was like getting ready for bed. And while I was watching it, and I paused it and I was like, babe, you need to come out here. And she's like, why? And I was like, come here. And it's just funny because I love any time that, because I guess what it is that like growing up, I feel like Peru was probably talked about. Like I've probably heard the name Peru several times growing up. Like in Brink, we heard it, but it didn't really like register. But like now, like I have a wife who is from Peru. Well, her parents are from Peru. She was born in California, but that's semantics. She's Peruvian. And we're going to Peru next year to visit some of her family, so I'll get to go. And so anytime I hear Peru now, my ears perk up. And it's like, I feel like there's a lot, not really a lot necessarily, but there's a decent amount of Disney media where somebody is from Peru.
Somebody's from that area.
At least, yeah.
Near Peru.
Or
I heard it beep.
Oh, there's the beep.
There's
okay.
the beep.
I'll finish this thought because we can finish the thought on the third camera here. But
okay,
like, it just seems like it's a lot. And it's one of those things where it's probably the yellow bus effect, you know, where when you start thinking about yellow buses, you see yellow buses everywhere.
Yeah.
And so like now that I am married to someone who has a history or a culture that is Peruvian, every time I hear the word Peru, my ears perk up. I notice it so much, and I just feel like it's so frequent. I don't know if it's true. We kind of already talked about this before the podcast. I don't know if it's true. But I feel like Esteban from The Sweet Life, Zach and Cody is from Peru. Just because, and I think I got that from Adriana because when we were watching the Sweet Life on Deck episode where he gets married and they're doing all this traditional stuff from his country about, and it's like, she was saying like, that's a lot of that stuff is like Peruvian, but it's not strictly Peruvian. Right. So it could be like other areas in that region. But it seems very Peru. Yeah. So,
and I mean, like, I don't, I'm just gonna say it. I'm sorry. You can cut this if you need to.
I'm not cutting nothing.
With his accent too, like
it's definitely Spanish.
It's
or
definitely
like Hispanic, like Latin,
somewhere. Yeah,
Latino.
Yeah. So
they're definitely from South America. Like that is very clear.
Yes.
And I think they probably mentioned that, but I feel like there was a moment where they say something about Peru, but I don't remember.
Don't know.
Maybe
guess we'll
someday
have to watch it and find out.
Maybe what we do when we run out of DCOMs.
When we run out of if we run out of DCOMs, there's like 400.
There's a lot.
We could be doing DCOMs
it took
for
forever
5
to get
years.
to Brink. My thumb got tired because I was scrolling through. But yeah, hold on. Let's hold this thought so I can get that camera rolling again, and then we'll continue on. Okay, so we're back. Sorry about that. I'm working on the camera situation. It's gonna be a minute, but there's things
do you need
in
a
the works.
New camera, or
I need to figure out. Well, according to the Google box, that should not be happening. So I'm sure there's a setting in there that I just need to change. I just need to.
Okay.
I just need to do it, or look at like I probably need to spend a couple hours messing with it and find it. But I mean, it's annoying, but it's kind of nice because it gives you I mean, we've been recording for 30 minutes now with that, so.
Okay.
It gives us a little bit of time to kind of just stand up for a second and move around, because otherwise I sit here for an hour, and that is not good on a metal chair. It hurts. Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we just finished talking about Peru, and I'm sure we'll hear references to Peru several more times throughout the DCOM experience. Oh, what I was saying, I don't remember if I said it to the end, but maybe if we run out of DCOMs.
Yes.
When we run out of DCOMs, maybe we just start going through series, but that was a little bit more of a.
Yeah.
It would be like probably season by season, I would think.
Right.
And I would probably start with Even Stevens because I don't know
Yes.
anything before that.
Oh, I would love to do
Maybe
Even
Lizzie
Stevens.
McGuire because I think that was actually before Even Stevens
Yeah.
or around the same time.
I'm
But
trying to remember which ones we watched most growing up. Lizzie McGuire and Even Stevens for sure.
for sure.
You know, it'd be kind of funny. It's Brandy and Mr. Whiskers.
Oh, that would be so good.
That would be so good.
Oh man, I that's a whole different day. But I remember
Yeah.
playing Disney Channel games,
Yeah.
and Brandy and Mr. Whiskers had like the temple game thing,
Mhm.
where it's like I don't even remember fully what
Yeah.
it was, but
Yeah, they had a lot of random games, but like the one where
that was
you
good
like
stuff.
jump, you play as them, and you're like jumping up the leaves and stuff.
yes, that one was fun.
Yeah, I loved all of Disney games.
Yes. All right. Okay, so we've got through the beginning of the first day of school.
The beginning.
Yes, and then from there we go to that's probably the first scene after that is probably the lunch scene, right?
They're in.
Well,
this
no.
First,
We got to
okay.
get to the part where
Yeah.
Val throws.
Yes.
the
So
shoes.
first, they like the X-Blade boys. I don't know what to call them.
Yeah.
Val
Team
and his
X-Blades. Yeah.
boys.
Val and his
Oh.
crew.
Yeah, they weren't boys back then. It was the crew.
Yeah. They were
They
guys.
They were what?
They were guys, but stop calling everyone guys.
I'm not a guy. Yeah, I love that about her too. Like,
I liked it.
She's like, yeah, I'm a tomboy, but I'm a girl.
Yeah. What I liked. Well, it's later, but what I liked was Peter when he was backing her up on it.
Yes.
I was like,
yeah, that's coming up soon,
attaboy.
actually.
Yeah, we're getting there.
No, like, so they come up teasing her about wearing a dress.
Right.
And then they grab Peter's shoes because they all skate to school. They can skate to school, but they can't skate to the pit.
Right. I'm
Anyway.
saying.
All the boys skate to school. Gabriella rides the bus. And the X-Blade guys come over and they start making fun of her. And then they grab Peter's shoes because they have to tie the laces so they can sling them over their shoulders so they can skate.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep going back.
Hey,
This
that's
is how
okay.
I explain things. And they grab his shoes and impressively, I might add, they... Sorry, am I too quiet?
At the moment, but it's
Oh,
okay.
sorry. They chuck his shoes up on the telephone wire.
Right.
Which I've only ever seen done in movies and like a handful of times in the real world.
Okay, I was gonna say I've seen it at least once in real life.
Yeah, I've never seen someone do it, but I've
Oh, I
seen
have.
shoes on telephone wire before. Okay, hot take, probably not the only one, but I think Peter and Gabriella should have gotten together in the end.
Dude, I thought they were going to.
I thought they were going to, like, the whole time, because
Yeah.
she's like, here, take my shoes.
Right.
She's like, if you don't lace them, they'll probably fit. And he's like, you're gonna go all day in those girl shoes? What? For me? And she's like, just take them before I change my mind. And then she changed it to her clothes, her like baggy shirt and jeans, but she still had like her heels on.
Yeah. See, I don't think I
so-
noticed that she still had them on, but I was like, it's an assumption.
They like show a clip of her walking in them.
I didn't catch that
Yeah.
part.
Yeah, it's like quick.
Okay,
In
that's
her
probably
jeans
why I
and then
didn't.
like sparkly shoes.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So yeah, so then that happens, and
Do you
then
want me to keep talking? Because like I remember a lot of this movie.
yeah, go for it.
Okay.
I got a lot more later, but like
Okay.
the beginning, I was like,
Oh, I remember the beginning so good.
okay, keep
Because
going.
it's like super stuck in my brain.
That's good.
So after she gives him the shoes, then they go to science class and they're learning about earthworms.
Yes.
Because they're like, I want to say they're like 9th grade. I feel like they're not that old.
I don't think. Well,
They're
maybe.
like 9th or 10th. Like, who learns about earthworms later than early high
they
school?
teach people about things a lot younger than they used to, so it's hard to say what it was in 19.
They also had home
1998.
economics back then. Which,
Being homeschooled, that was pretty much all of our schooling.
true. We did learn how to do some of that stuff growing up, because we were homeschooled.
I didn't learn how to bake, but
No, but
that came
my
later in life.
my current job's taught me a lot about baking. I don't know a lot like at home, but like I can make big batches of cookies now.
you have a
If any-
very niche experience.
Very niche. Yeah.
So if we need some cookies for Christmas,
Oh yeah, I already plan on bringing cookies.
oh excellent,
Thanksgiving and Christmas.
beautiful.
So
We'll be hosting
I figured
Need a
because you're the
bigger
only
table.
ones with the house.
in the state anyway.
True.
Anywho,
Anywho,
oh boy.
so after science, they're like, we need to get back at them for I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
kind of an important part when when Val throws the shoes over is he's basically like, you can't tattle on me because if you do, you're a wuss.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. He's like, what are you going to do? Tattle? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So then they're like,
they use the word tattle, but
no, he does say tell him. He's like, who are you going to, if you tell on me, you're a wuss.
yeah, which I think is like, are you going to tell on me?
yeah, for sure. So they're like, we need a way to get back at him. And then Brink is like, I have a plan. And they all lean in. They're like, what's the plan? And he points to the earthworms. And everybody's like, yes. Sorry, for the listeners, I'm nodding my head.
Yeah, I was going to say. I love that he just points at them. And everyone's like, oh, I get it.
So, like, he points at the worms.
Yeah.
And they're like, got it.
10-4,
Understood.
10-4.
Yes, we know exactly where this is going.
Yes.
This sequence...
it was beautiful.
It was so smooth, seamless. And I was like, I want to be that. Sorry.
That's how you can tell it's a movie too, because
yeah.
they're like a little too
seamless.
Yeah.
I want to be that sneaky when in my pranks. I don't prank that much.
Me either.
So they like. I can't remember if it's Gabriella or Peter. Oh,
That's Peter.
I forgot your passcode. It locked.
Well,
sorry.
it's fine.
So, one of them walks by and distracts Val. So they're at lunch, and Val takes out his sandwich that I assume he brought from home.
Seemed like it.
It's in a brown paper bag. I don't know. I was homeschooled. I don't know what that means.
Same.
So he takes his food out of the bag. Someone distracts him to the side, and he's like, oh, hey, what's up? And he starts shaking hands. And I can't remember if it's Peter or Gabriella. That part's fuzzy in my brain.
Yeah, that's it.
But they grab it, take it over to Brink, and he puts the earthworms in the sandwich, closes it, rewraps it, and I know Peter's the one who sets it back on the table.
Right.
And then he's like, I'm smooth. I just walked away. I got away with it. And then the next thing you see is Val opening it, and then he bites into it.
Huge bite of earthworm.
And like it dangles out of his mouth for a minute.
Yeah.
And then he like realizes and he spits it out. And then he starts freaking out, and then one of the teachers comes over and she's like, we got a problem here. And then call back to his comment. Yeah. They each hold up a sign that says, don't be a wuss.
Yes.
And then he's like, oh, I thought I saw a bug or something.
He did.
He did, to be fair.
Hanging out his mouth.
Are worms bugs?
I mean, it depends. I get you.
And semantics.
Insect, I guess.
Is that the right word?
Semantics.
Thank you.
Yeah. Semantics, same difference.
I was homeschooled. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry. I keep using that. Yes. So then he like walks over to him and he's like, skate off. You against us.
Well, I think actually he was insinuating going to the parking lot because he was going to beat them up.
Yeah.
That was what he wanted to do.
Yeah. He did want to beat them up because yeah.
But then Boomer is like, hey, what if we just race instead?
But he's the one who sets it all up, which
they did that fast, first of all.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
I think Boomer low-key had it set up already.
Being homeschooled, I don't know how much time public school or like I don't know how much time schools give for lunch, especially back in 1998.
45 minutes to an hour.
I assume like 30-40 minutes.
Yeah,
that's all you get for lunch. But I was like, first of all, they had time to do the sequence of switching his food. He had time to bite it. And then they had time to set up trash cans and move picnic tables
for real
around.
It was a process.
And start the race. And the lunch wasn't even over by the time the accident happens.
Right.
It's like they're doing like a relay race, and there's a part where they're like, the first person starts and the next guy can't go until his hand is touched. Right. And every time they say guy, Peter's like or girl. And Gabriella's like, thank you, guy or girl, thank you.
Yeah. I liked that part. That was cute.
Yeah. See, and that's why I was like,
Honestly, I'm like, you
are they
guys need to
already
be a
together?
thing.
Like, what is
Maybe. I don't-
happening?
Maybe they were.
Maybe they were, and then just
They
like
didn't really
and
talk
then
about it.
Jordy
a
and
lot.
Brink were just like the
They're just
awkward
third
third
wheels.
and fourth wheels. The third
Yeah.
wheels.
The third wheels.
But yeah, so then they start this race. I think, does Brink start it? No.
No, Brink finishes.
Gabriella
starts it.
Yeah, because she
like flirts with.
yes
with,
I can't remember
Arnie,
his name.
I think.
I think it's Arnie.
I get them confused.
It's the blonde one. I don't know.
Well,
BJ?
Arnie and BJ were both blonde.
It was one of those. And
Which I think it's
yeah.
Arnie because BJ's like more talkative.
Yeah.
Later, he like actually has a speaking role.
And she's like, you're quiet, you know, or something like that.
Yeah, he's like, you're quiet. I like that.
And
in
she's
a
like,
guy.
I like that in a man. And then they're like, go. And so then she kicks his butt.
Got him.
Yeah, because I think it's like, I can't remember the order. I know Gabriella starts. I want to say Brink is at the end.
He is, yeah. It's him
because
and him versus Val
and
at the end.
Val, yeah.
I think it's Gabriella, then
I want to say Jordy,
and then Peter, and then Brink. Yeah.
I don't know.
That doesn't really matter, but
it doesn't matter. But the fact that we know is great.
That's all I need to know. It's a piece of myself.
Anyway.
Same.
They're racing.
Yes.
It's Boomer against Peter.
Boomer versus Peter.
And Boomer hits a rock or something. I don't know. He hits something.
I think he just trips
and he
like
rolls
runs into the table or something. Like that.
I can't remember that much detail, but
Mm-hmm.
he falls somehow and injures his knee.
Yeah.
And Val's like, he's like, come on, pass
like,
the
tag
baton,
me, tag me.
Yeah, tag me. That's the word I was trying to find.
Yeah.
He's like, tag me. And so then he slaps his hand, and Brink is like, because like he gets, I want to say Peter gets to Brink
Peter tags
first,
him and he takes
and
off.
then he sees that that Boomer falls, and he's like, yo man, calm. He's like, just deep breaths, like, this happened to me last summer. He literally says that. He's like, this happened to me last summer, like, and then he yells to the people, he's like, go get the nurse,
Yeah.
and then they all get in trouble.
Naturally.
Obviously, because there's no skating on school grounds.
I didn't see any signs for that, by the way. That was the first I heard about that rule.
He says that in like when he's like, let's race. He's like, but there's no school in skating. There's no skating.
There's no school in skating.
There's no skating on school grounds. You guys know that. And he's like, you gonna be a wuss? And then they're like, set it up. Let's go.
I love how everyone was afraid to be a wuss.
Yeah, back then, like, honestly, probably me too. I'm 3 years old, but
yeah, honestly,
yeah.
Like, I don't want to be a wuss.
I don't want to be a wuss either. Actually, good point, Val.
This is shaping up to be the longest podcast yet.
Oh, sweet! It's because I'm talking about the whole movie scene by scene.
Honestly,
we can skip through if you want.
I was gonna say, yeah, we might drop some things here and there.
Okay. Just tell me when to shut up.
No, I don't want you to shut up, but I just want...
This is the most I've talked all day because...
I can tell. I've had a long day, so I'm like, oh, go, yeah, please like, talk. I'm a...
Dude, I've had a long day too, but like...
Yeah.
I'm also like jazzed because like I'm super nervous, so let's go.
Fair enough, girl. Let's roll, okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So they run the skate, and then Boomer gets injured. And then, like you said...
They all get suspended for the day.
Yeah. And then like his dad is like angry, and then like what's weird about it is when he's driving him home, right? Mm-hmm. And the car breaks down. Yeah. Like at first you're like, the way his dad gets angry is almost like he's blaming the car breaking down on the fact Brink. That he got suspended. Yeah. Like, well, if you hadn't got suspended, I wouldn't have been out driving in the middle of the day, and my car wouldn't have been like, right. That's the vibe I got. I was like, bro,
that's absolutely the vibe.
It was gonna break down next time you drove anyway. Right. Also, shout out for driving a freaking 50s Bel Air. I don't know what car it was, but it's like a 50s.
Yeah, it was an
and
old
it was
car.
1998, and I'm like, I understand that like you've been on disability for a little while because you had a beam following you at work and you haven't been able to work. Yeah. But you're a foreman for construction. You're probably pretty well off.
Okay,
like,
but
you should have spent some of that. First of all, you probably should have saved more money than you were. Second of all, I would have invested in a different car. I mean, you have kids.
What was his wife driving? Because
right, maybe
she's also a real estate agent.
True.
So like
she's a realtor and he's a foreman of construction.
Back then, though, all of her money was like based off of selling houses.
That's
and like,
true. I mean,
there's
it
a lot of
still
times
is.
where he's like,
Realtors still get paid based almost
where he's
completely
like-
off of commission.
yeah, there's one line where he's like, did you sell any houses today? And she's like, no. And he's like, did you show any houses today? She's like, we're gonna make it work. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's her way of being like, please don't
shut
bring
up.
it up again. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm a crappy realtor. What do you want to say about it, boy?
Right. How far do you want to skip forward?
I just want to touch on things that happen.
Okay, go ahead.
Just briefly.
You start and I'll pick up.
'Cause I like the idea of going through the whole thing, but I'm like,
It'll be a 2-hour long.
I was like, this podcast is
yeah.
gonna be longer than the movie.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we skipped ahead to the car breaking down.
Yes.
And I guess
which is
by that we've also gone on to like the dad
only
being
really-
like,
yeah.
well, the car's gonna be $900 to fix,
Yeah.
and I'm like, well, I want to fix my car for $900.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I wish.
And then something else was $200. I forget what the other thing was.
Yeah, I can't remember what the other thing was.
Oh no. Well, yeah, they have to pay for
First
something else that's
car.
$200. And that's when Andy is hearing all of this stuff.
Yeah.
Also, I think this happened later, but I don't remember when it happened. I'm sure it happened several times. But I thought it was super weird that the dad kept referring to Andy as Brink.
I mean,
I know when they were having their like heart to heart, he called him Andy.
yeah.
But like when he's talking to his wife about him, he would say Brink.
yeah.
And I'm like, what was weird about it is, first of all, Brink's a nickname. It's not very common for people to call their
Right.
kids by their nickname. Second of all, his nickname is Brink because his last name is Brinker. And so I'm like, you're not only calling your kid by a nickname, but you're using the nickname that is just your last name. It'd be like if Dad started calling me Parker or Park. He's like, what's up, Park?
Noah Parker.
And I'm like, Dad, that's not the name you
Yeah.
gave me. You call me the name you gave me. Everyone else, I don't
Right.
go by Park anyway, but
Yeah.
a lot of people call me Parker. Well, not so much anymore. I feel like that was a thing that used to happen a lot when I was younger, but like now I feel like nobody.
Yeah.
Everywhere I
really.
go, basically, any of the friends that I have know me and at least one of my siblings.
Yeah.
At least one.
At least.
So like I have never been Parker. I mean, I guess I was for a couple of years in the Civil Air Patrol.
Mm-hmm. But that's because.
But
they
even
go by
then
last names.
that wore off because Caleb joined and we were both
Right.
Parker, and the only
Right.
difference there was that they would refer to me as Sergeant Parker and him as
Mhm.
Airman Parker or just
Right.
Parker or Cadet Parker, and I was always Sergeant or Lieutenant. And then I got out before he got up to the officer ranks, because then that
Mhm.
would have been even more confusing.
So
But that's the
when,
only
like,
time I've really been referred to as Parker, because everything else I've ever done when we were in theater, me and you
Mhm.
were doing theater a lot together.
Yeah.
By the way, me and Marci did most of my experience in shows
Mhm.
was with Marci. There's a couple that
Yeah.
I did that she wasn't in, but
Yeah.
she's done a lot that I haven't been in, 'cause much like Lauren, she's still doing it today,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to.
Yes.
But anyway, like everyone has known
Mhm.
me and at least one sibling, so it's
Yeah.
always been Noah.
Yeah.
but
Noah, and then, like
anyway,
for a long time, I
was a
was known
tangent.
as Noah's sister.
Noah's. A lot of times it was Noah's little sister because
Yeah.
nobody knew that she was older than me,
Yeah.
because I was
Especially
taller than her.
once he hit his growth spurt, it was like, oh, you're Noah's little sister, and I was like, no, I'm
No,
older.
I'm actually 2 years
That's-
older than him. He's the baby, but
That's fine. That's
anyway.
fine.
But anyway, sorry.
Anyway, tangent
over. Now we jump back into I don't even know what happens
Let's
next.
skip to like.
We can skip ahead to what you were talking about earlier with when Team X-Blades kind of realizes that, okay, Boomer's out for a minute,
Yeah.
so we got to replace him.
Yeah. So they hold auditions.
Yeah.
Well.
Did you say that on the Did you say that on the recording when you're talking about thinking that Val knew?
Yeah.
My memory is like so faded.
I think yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then we're good.
That was like towards the beginning.
Okay.
Before I was like, should we just talk about the whole movie?
Yeah, I'm getting confused.
Yeah. No, I did talk about that.
Okay.
Before, but like.
Cool, because that would be the next thing, but
Yes. So like Andy does show up.
right,
And
predictably,
auditions. Yeah.
amazingly predictably.
Amazingly predictably. Yeah.
Some of the dialogue in this movie, I'm like, you guys are stretching way too hard to get these
Yeah.
slang words that they use that the kids these days be using.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like,
One of my favorite parts during this whole scene. So like he auditions and then they're like, well, let's go take you to Jimmy, who's like the head of the whole company.
yeah,
Who's like their boss. That
yeah, he's like the
X-Blades
team
boss.
manager.
Yeah, team manager. That's
Yeah.
what he is. And he's like, how big can you go? And he's like, as big as you want. And he's like, oh, I love this kid. And then he goes, hey, your parents are cool with this? And he goes, my parents? Oh, yeah, they're cool. And he's like, great, let's go. And I'm like, nowadays you have to like have your parents come in and talk to the manager and be like, here's the paper that I sign. Back then.
Do they though?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I've never had a parent sign anything.
Well, as someone who works with children, because I'm also a theater teacher, theater and dance teacher for people.
I guess it depends on age. Yeah.
Yeah. We did Rock of Ages in July, and we had one 16-year-old, because originally we were going to do 16 and up. But then they looked at the script and they're like, there might be some things that 16-year-olds shouldn't be exposed to, which
sure.
There really wasn't. It was like more innuendos than anything.
Right. And we get
like,
that on Disney Channel. So
we get that on something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. More nowadays than back then. But we had this one girl who's only 16. Her and her parents had to come in and meet the director and the director of programming. And like her parents had to be like, no, we are okay with her doing this show. Like they signed a paper.
I hire 16-year-olds all the time. I've never seen a parent.
But you're not. It's different.
Is it
work than it is?
Is it?
I don't know.
I would say it is different, but I would say it's significantly more important that the parents probably should be signing things when their kid gets a job.
I mean, yes, but because especially where you're at, where they're around the grills and
right.
And like all that stuff. But
we
like,
have protocols for that. We don't let our 15-year-olds in there, but
right.
That's besides. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Tangent.
But so like back then they were just like, he's like, your parents are cool, and he's like, yep, they're cool.
He's like, sweet.
And he's like, awesome.
You should probably talk to the kids' parents, bro.
Yeah, because like I feel like in that situation, because it's like a dangerous thing. It beeped again.
It did beep again. Right, oh yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Do you want to reset it?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want me to pause?
Yeah.
Pause. So he accepts the job.
Yeah.
And then later he's like, he's like, how do you guys feel about me skating for money? And his dad's like, no.
Not happening. You need a real job.
You need to focus on school. And if you're going to get a job, get a real job.
Right.
And he's like, but what if I'm good at it? And he's like, no.
And he's like, oh, well, then it's a good thing I didn't take a skating job.
Another one of my favorite lines in this movie is when after he gets back from the audition, he has like the big bag of stuff.
Oh, yes.
And Katie's like...
I quoted it immediately.
Katie is like, she's like, what's in the bag? And he's like, stuff. And she's like, you came back to the house with more stuff than you left. What's in the bag?
None ya.
She's like, none ya?
None ya business.
That's like peak 90s. Like,
I remember using that so much.
I used it so much.
And now I think that before saying it, watching the movie last night.
Yeah.
The last time I'd used it before that was probably in 2005.
Honestly, like, I was probably still like a baby.
Yeah. Like a couple years after this movie. Yeah.
I'm sorry. My nose, I feel like I have to sneeze.
You're fine.
Allergies, my dude. Anyway.
It's all good.
How far do you want to skip?
I don't know. What's the next important thing that happens?
The invitational.
The invitational, probably, because he's okay. First of all, so intricate, pretending to be sick.
Honestly, I was like, I need to take notes over here.
Where was this? And I'm like, where was this movie when I was in? It was out. I just didn't watch it.
I just didn't watch it. He's like,
he's got the heating pad under the blanket. Yeah. Although I did think the thing that was stupid.
His face.
Yeah, I thought that was stupid because you don't need to add more sweat. You're very clearly sweating.
Yeah.
And he's like, will you grab that for me?
And he's like, oh, look how much I sweated in the 2 seconds.
Man, you turned around and I just started sweating.
Sweating. Is that when you're sweating so bad when you're editing?
Yeah.
Hardcore.
Sweating. Yeah.
Sweating.
Yeah. When you lose control of the mouse because the sweat in your hand just yeah, that's sweating.
Awesome.
But it's so funny. I'm like, you didn't need to spray your face.
No, that part was unnecessary.
And then,
but
first of all, okay, I'm gonna touch on this a little bit more, but like, I definitely felt like Peter was very suspicious of him at that
Oh,
moment.
yeah, absolutely.
But then I also felt like Brink got up way too fast after Peter walked out of the room. Basically, the door closed and he's out of bed and he's like, time to get dressed, ready to go roll for Team X-Blades. Yeah. And I'm like, what about your parents, first of all? Like, did your parents think you're sick too, or are you just lying to Peter?
Well, doesn't he sneak out the window?
Oh, maybe he did. I missed that if he did. That might be when I got up to get another drink.
I can't remember if he snuck out the window. I just remember.
I don't think it shows him leaving.
It does. I just know when he first brings the stuff in, he's like burying it in his laundry bag.
Which, first of all, your mom's definitely gonna find that because I doubt you do your own laundry.
Honestly, 1998. But she is a realtor, so
maybe maybe that basket has been there for weeks and he doesn't do his own laundry either.
Do his laundry.
Mom's too busy, and that's fair. But maybe he's just too lazy.
But also, Dad's kind of stay-at-home dad at the moment, so Dad would probably find.
Somebody else
would find them.
Yeah. Honestly.
But yeah,
I actually don't think it shows him leave. I think actually what happens is he sits up and he goes, whoa. And then he jumps out of bed, and then you're just supposed to assume the rest.
Yeah.
So maybe we're supposed to assume he climbed out the window, but I feel like your parents would notice if you were sick. I mean, our mom checked up on us when we were sick. I don't know.
But again, I go back to his mom was a realtor.
But not a very good one. She didn't even show houses the day before.
True.
Yeah. So then they're at the invitational.
Yes.
And
so like he tells the guys and Gabriella to train.
Go session instead, bro. Don't even go bother.
He's like, the invitational's just practice for the regionals. Like, don't even go to them.
Totally super suspicious too when Peter's like, he's like, well, we're gonna go anyway. And he's like, no, like, don't
do that. Just train instead, dude.
Honestly, I'm like, bro, this is so dumb.
It's like, but
bad liar. Obviously, intricate. He set up this intricate thing to make people think he was sick.
Yeah,
but he's such a bad liar.
He's such a bad liar.
Anyway,
so like, you're really good at pretending to be sick, but like. You gotta
step it up with the lies, bro. Yeah.
But then he ends up going to the invitational,
right? Because he's
with
getting
X-Blades. Yeah. They end up winning, and the Gabriella, Peter, and Jordy end up going to the invitational because Gabriella's like, "That's stupid. I want to see what my competition's like."
Right, and she's right.
And she's right. She should have gone. And then they see him skating, and they're like. Because he told a big lie about who the new skater was.
He was a big Native American dude.
Yeah, he says Korean and then says Native American, which like that's probably didn't age well. Sorry,
no, not super well, but
but then they get there and like Jordy's line, he's like, he doesn't look Korean at all.
That cracked me up.
And then Gabriella's like, you're stupid because he's not. It's obviously Brink. Can't you tell by his hair that nobody else has?
Right. You're like, look at that stunt double. That's very clearly supposed to be Brink.
That's obviously him.
Yeah. I thought that was funny. But then, after that, obviously he comes to the bottom of the ramp and they're like, you lied to us. Yeah. You lied.
First
and
he's like, Gabriella pushes him like all the way over.
Oh, yeah.
She chucks him.
She almost killed him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like I thought that was funny. But I'm like, but in that moment, that was where I saw in Peter's face, he's just watching the other two respond to it. And the way that, I don't remember what his line is specifically, but his line kind of makes me think even stronger. Like he knew, or he had a feeling.
Yeah, he's like,
he was very
all those
suspicious.
Times I stuck up for you.
It was, and I think like because. Peter, when they were at the pit, right, and they were training, and Gabriella was like, we need to go do this anyway. He's like, no, Brink told us to stay here. It's like, it very much felt like Peter was like, I know why he doesn't want us to go.
Right. Yeah.
But it was also kind of like, I wrote it down here. What I wrote was, he was kind of like in that denial stage where he's like, I think this is happening, but as long as I don't see it and it's not confirmed, then it's not happening.
Yeah.
And then in that moment, he's like, you kind of just have to let go of that denial and be like, this is what's happening. And I really tried to cover for you because I didn't want to believe it, but
yeah. He's like, I was your best friend. Why wouldn't you tell me?
Right.
Which is like,
to be fair, he did try to, and then he got hung up on, and then he tried to tell all of them.
But in home economics. But
Val screwed that up.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's one point where his dad's like, "Oh, I got you a job. You're gonna be a dog washer,
groomer.
Help out at my friend's dog grooming
shop."
And so he does that on top of X-Blades, on top of school,
on top of
training with the other people.
Until that point, trying to make everyone think that he wasn't doing anything else. This kid, I'm like, I got tired of watching him.
That sounds like me today. Like I'm like, oh, go to work in the morning, go to the theater in the afternoon, stay there until the evening. What do you do at night? Nothing.
Record a podcast for your brother.
Record a podcast for 2 hours with my brother. That's what I do. But yeah. So I'm like, it made me reevaluate my life, where I'm like, maybe I'm doing too much.
Yeah. See, I don't do that much, and sometimes I think I'm doing too much. So.
Yeah. I like it because it keeps me busy.
Right. But at what cost? How busy are you keeping yourself? Too busy?
Yeah.
Not busy,
I do go over to Raylan's a lot and
that's
spend
good.
time with her and the kids when I can. I wouldn't say a lot. It's like once or twice a week.
That's more than I go over there.
Yeah.
Sorry. Anyway. So he gets caught in his lie, and he tries to quit Team X-Blades.
Yeah.
And then they go to the pier where they're eating. I love this scene.
They're
all sitting down eating. The Jordy, Peter, and Gabriella are all sitting down eating. And then Brink comes up and he's like, "Can I sit down?" And they're like, "Yeah, go ahead." And he sits down and they all stand up and
grab their trays and
take
out.
off. Yeah.
It's like so insane. Like the three of them have like this connection.
They're all ESP. Well, it was all four of them, but then he broke their trust.
He broke it. Yeah.
He lost to the ESP.
Like, he looks at the worms and they're like, "Got it, done."
Exactly.
Then the three of them, they're like, "He's gonna sit down. We're all gonna leave."
Yeah.
Don't even have to say a word. We just have to look at each other, know exactly what to do.
It's pretty amazing, to be honest.
I wish I had that close of friends growing up, honestly.
I wish I had friends.
This is such a good,
it's fun.
Reconnecting.
I love it.
I haven't talked to you in
I know.
minute.
We need to do other videos.
Yeah.
Because that's something I want to do too. Is I don't want the YouTube channel to just be the podcast now. Right. I want to have other videos go up too. But,
yeah. For sure.
But yeah, so he basically his friends leave, and then Val appears out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know what the difference between me and them is? You bailed on us both, but I'm willing to be your friend again. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'd rather rollerblade than not rollerblade. So,
right?
Or I guess I'd rather rollerblade with a team than rollerblade alone. That's kind of what it was. Yeah. And so, yeah, so then they decide, because they're getting ready for the championships, right? And one of the big parts of the championship, the final round of the championships, is the street race.
The downhill.
The downhill.
Yeah.
The downhill.
The downhill section.
Yeah. And so they decide they're going to go check it out. And they check it out, but it's not the downhill that they end up racing on later. I mean, it is, but it's not, because first of all, there's they have all the ramps that are pretty important to the downhill part.
The downhill that they go to is in a neighborhood.
Right. It was different, but the one same, but different.
But the one that they compete on, I believe, is in the city.
That's what it looked like.
It's what it looks like. And then they have the classic hay bales. But
it was supposed to be
create the
barrier,
thing.
so if they miss the corner, they don't die.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looked like it was supposed to be the same thing, but the set was different. But maybe it's just the people. I don't know.
It could have just been that they now had hay bales up.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But then Val decides to be a dummy.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Well, why don't we race now?"
Yeah.
Because
they're trying to decide who should race the downhill. If for
because
Team
Brink's
X-Blade,
not on their team anymore. Right. On the Soul Skaters is what they call themselves until a little bit later. The Soul Skaters need a new downhill guy because it was Brink.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now Brink's going to be the downhill guy for Team X-Blades because that's his team now. Yeah. Which I find kind of interesting that Val was willing to give that up.
Right.
Because he's basically at that point acknowledging that Brink is better at this than I am.
Yeah. That's where my brain is he knows that Brink is good.
But he will never verbally admit it.
Right. Yeah.
But by saying Brink will let you do this is basically saying that.
But also I think he purposely, for this specific situation, he purposely did that because he knows how much Brink cares about Gabriella.
Yeah.
As a friend, as more than whatever it is. But he knows how
that
much
love triangle thing.
Yeah.
Whatever.
He knows how much it would hurt him to compete against his friends.
Right.
So that's why he also did that.
Again, evil genius.
Evil manipulator.
I was confused, okay, because the next part of this is that they go down this hill and they have that big corner, right? That is at the bottom of the hill.
Yeah.
It's right at the bottom of the hill.
Right at the bottom of the hill.
And Val goes on ahead and he decides to grab some gravel out of a flower bed and throw it onto the sidewalk or onto the street
yeah.
on the inside of the corner, because when you're trying to make a corner fast, you want to cut it in as tight as you can. Yeah. So you'd want to be near the curb, so he throws a bunch of gravel right there. And I'm looking at it where it's supposed to be and where because Gabrielle ends up falling on those and getting torn up pretty bad. But like where that happens at the bottom of the hill. Yeah. I'm like, how did none of you guys see Val throw those pebbles out there? He literally did it right in front of you guys. He was like
right there. Also, how did he get to the bottom faster than everybody else?
Well, he was going ahead because he was going to wait at the finish line.
Oh, okay. I forgot that.
But he was the only one who went ahead to the finish line, which I thought was a red flag, first of all. But then I'm like, and then he throws the gravel in the street where everyone should have seen it and nobody sees it.
Nobody sees it. But like, I can understand like Brink and Gabriella because they're like focused on the race,
and he was trying to talk to her and being basically like, dude, I don't want to do this, like I don't want to race you. I would feel bad beating you, but I'd feel bad losing against you, basically. So I get them too, but like what's with all the other people? They should have seen it. So they get to the bottom of the hill and Gabriella hits the pebbles and wipes out. The way she wiped out, I feel like isn't how I'm not a rollerblader.
Yeah, I don't know how.
I feel like what should have happened is her skates should have slid out from under her when she hit the gravel, and she should have. Yeah. I think she would have tumbled still, but it was like she hit a bump in the road.
Yeah, it was almost like she like went up and then rolled.
Yeah, because she fell forward, and I'm like.
I mean, they are crouched down in.
Well, not when they get to the bottom of the hill, because they would have stood up to take the corner.
But at that part, they're still crouched down. We're like right where she hits.
I feel like she would have slid out on the corner. Yeah. I feel like that's what should have happened, but she fell forward like she got like someone literally just pulled a rope on her skates. Yeah. Like I've had happen to me in my past once, not on skates. It was just around my ankles. We won't talk about that. We'll leave that there.
We'll leave that.
Like that's what it looked like, that she just got her skates pulled out from under her. And I feel like with the gravel, she should have slid out,
and then rolled.
Basically got the same injuries, but so she ends up getting her arm tore up, and then Brink is like, what was that? And he gets all mad at Val, and he's like, you're a piece of trash, basically, like I can't believe you would do that. Which wasn't enough red flags for Val, but
whatever.
But yeah, and then so we continue on a bit. Does he go to Val's house next, or does he have the heart-to-heart with his dad next?
He has the heart-to-heart with his dad, and then he goes and sees Gabriella.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And then he sees Val at the pier.
That moment in the garage with his dad is the first time in the movie I heard his dad call him Andy. Oh. He says it to his face. He says, I don't remember exactly what he says, but his line is something like Andy, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Right? And I'm like, his dad has never called him Andy to this point. Right. Except to his face. But when he's talking about Andy to his mom, to his wife, he calls him Brink. That's so weird.
I think it was just like a nickname that he's had his whole life. And like, that's what his friends call him. That's what everybody calls him. So his dad's just like Brink.
I still feel like parents would. I don't know. I'm not a parent, so I don't have a lot of. I don't have a lot of dice in this game, but
I feel like if we had more friends growing up that gave us nicknames, because like growing up we were just our names, you know. Like if we had more friends that had given us nicknames, I feel like mom and dad would have called us by those nicknames.
Maybe too. So. I keep trying to think back to like, friends and stuff.
Yeah. Because like I have a kid that I teach.
Run into the same problem.
I have a kid that I teach who has a nickname, and like we're like, is there a name that you'd like to be called? And she's like, yes, I'd like to be called this. I'm not gonna say it because like
that's fine.
And like her parents call her that nickname. Like in the emails, they're like, blah 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 won't be at rehearsal because of this and this. But like they use their nickname.
Interesting.
So
well, but see that as well, not to poke holes, but like just my logic is like, I think if I was a parent, I knew that was what my kid asked other people to call them, right? That I would do that,
right? And maybe he did,
Right.
Because you don't know like him growing up.
This is my droid Blizzard, right?
Yes.
But it's BLZ1.
Yes.
Or BLZD or something.
Blizzard.
BL1D is the name I gave it,
yes,
right?
Yes.
So I would call it, but never mind. That's a bad example because I would call him Blizzard because that's why I gave him a nickname. It's not my kid, but like I guess let's say like I do refer to my. I don't know. I feel like as a parent, I would refer to him as
animals.
Animals.
Yeah, like a dog.
Okay, so my dog. My dog's name is Vidya.
Yeah.
No, that's a bad example too.
Okay, we'll go off of my dog. My dog's name is Belle, but I call her Boo Boo.
Right.
A lot. Like, and like.
See, but here's what we keep running into the same problem, and I think the problem is that we assigned those nicknames to our dogs.
I guess that's true.
Because I would call my dog Viddy, and I would refer to her as Viddy no matter when I'm talking about her, who I'm talking to her about. Okay,
can we go to like my niece and nephews, who call me Auntie Danny? But that's not a nick. That's like
yes.
Okay, is that better?
Yes.
So like.
Yes.
Mom wanted them to call me Auntie Dancy.
Right.
But they couldn't get the C in there, so they just call me Auntie Danny.
Okay, yes. That's actually a perfect example because when mom and dad are talking about you, they don't call you Auntie Danny or Auntie Dancy. They call you Marci.
Right, but if they're talking to the nieces and nephews, they say Danny.
But that's my point, is because they call him Brink when it's just the two of them.
I guess that's true.
That's the whole thing I'm getting at here.
I see what you're saying.
It's just the two of them. It's just the mom and dad in one scene. When Brink is outside, when he's listening in, he's eavesdropping, I think.
That makes more sense.
He says Brink got suspended on his first day of school or something along those lines. And I'm like, why would you call him Brink? And that was the thing. It threw me off for the whole rest of the movie. And it sent us on a 15-minute tangent.
Sorry. That makes more sense, though.
I was trying to figure out how to verbalize exactly what my problem was.
Okay, yes.
It was weird.
Okay, that makes sense. When they're alone.
Yeah. Just the dad talking to Brink.
Right.
I could understand him calling him Brink.
Yeah.
But it was when it was just the mom and dad and they called him Brink that I thought it was super weird.
I also love how his dad's like, this is the first skate you ever wore, and it's like this teeny tiny baby skate. I'm like, oh, that's so cute. And he's like, hey, I like skating, maybe this kid will too. And then it ended up being his whole personality.
Right. Whoops. What I thought was interesting about that is because the line that the dad says, I like skate, or hell, I like skating, he'll like it too.
Yeah.
And at that mom was like, because that was a Disney Channel original movie. It's not like it was a touchstone that was on Disney at some point. Like it was made for Disney Channel. And that was like, I was like,
especially for 1998, you're like,
I mean, it didn't bump me. Like I didn't feel bad about it, but I was like, it caught me off guard because like they wouldn't circle anywhere near that today.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was random, but
anyway.
So yeah. So
that
scene with the dad was so sweet.
Yeah, I
loved
that
it.
scene.
And then I love when they're walking inside. He's like, what the thing was, and Brink says like, "Is that the closest we've had to a conversation?"
No, his dad says.
Or his dad says, "This is the closest we've had to a conversation." And then Brink is like, "Don't tell mom; she'll get her hopes up." And I'm like, "What do you mean? That was a conversation."
Yeah, because like,
wasn't it close to a conversation?
The whole dynamic between Brink and his dad is that they don't talk.
Communicate.
They don't communicate. Like if Brink is feeling bad, he doesn't talk about it to his dad, and his dad doesn't understand him
because they don't talk about it.
Because they don't talk about it. Yeah.
So that was cute.
So then she's like, you need to talk to him. And then he's like,
I don't want to talk to him.
And then they eventually talk to each other. And then he's like, yeah, don't tell mom because like then she'll expect this more often.
Right.
So, yeah.
So then after that, Andy decides to go and see Gabriella, who is fresh out of the hospital with her bandaged up arm. Mm-hmm. And I don't really, that scene is kind of fuzzy in my brain. I don't think she forgave him at that point. No, that was when she starts calling him out for being a sellout and stuff. Yeah,
that's when she's like, you're just another sellout.
Yeah, but I think that scene kind of ends with him realizing what he did and how much it actually hurt his friends. But then also with her kind of going like, okay, I think he gets it.
Yeah.
Maybe I can let up on him a little. Yeah. But not like totally yet.
Yeah. She's like, you're not totally forgiven, but like, I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. And so then the next scene, I think it's the next scene or shortly thereafter.
Shortly after, yeah.
All of the Jordy, Peter, and Gabriella are at the pit again. They're practicing. They're sessioning.
Yeah.
And the only part of that scene, like I thought the scene was fun in general.
Mhm.
Like he comes in and is like, "Hey, so I basically
Yeah.
took an advance in my pay from the dog groomer, so I
Yeah.
could buy you guys all brand new skates."
They're like our new sponsors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pup and Suds.
Pup and Suds.
love
I
that
thought that's
name.
so good.
That's such a good name.
But then the thing in that is that, like, first of all, I was looking at the first thing that caught my eye was Gabriella's arm, because it's still in a sling and she has a huge gash still.
Yeah, she
And I'm
just
like,
has,
that looks
an
like
ace
it.
bandage around. She's not skating at that point, though.
I know, but she's not skating, but like you can see her wound. Like it's not bandaged. It's just her arm,
Oh,
and
yeah,
her
yeah,
arm
yeah.
is gashed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that should really be
That
in a
should be
bandage still.
bandaged. Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like it's in a sling. She's got it slung
Mhm.
still, but like it's like gross. And I'm like, you should
Yeah.
probably have a bandage on that still.
You should probably cover that up.
Yeah,
actually.
honestly.
Yeah.
And then they, I think after Brink gets there,
Mhm.
and he starts handing everything out, like you see her arm again, and it's like
Yeah.
a little, not a scratch,
yeah,
but
it's
like
like
it's
a little
significantly
bit.
less. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
My favorite part of that scene
forgot
is
the
when Peter tries to.
continuity
He's like trying to attempt his 540 again,
yeah,
and his skate breaks, and he literally just like pulls the blades off.
right. He's like, well, that's not gonna work,
He's
or
like,
whatever he says.
Yeah.
He's like,
He's like, I
oh,
can't.
it broke.
Well, like it's already like broken off the top part, but like he just
could
like
have fixed it.
rips it all the way off, and he's like, well, I can't fix that.
Well, you could have.
You could have.
Your
And
barbarian
then
didn't
Brink,
open
that's
it.
when Brink shows up, and
Yeah.
he's like, try these new
Conveniently.
skates. Yeah. Right.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
convenience in this.
There's a
in
lot.
this
It's
film.
like,
But that was probably the first one where I'm like, he just happens to show
Just
up with brand new
happens to
blades
be there.
right when Peter
Yeah.
breaks his. But then and then
Yeah.
they finally, at that point, I think, kind of
yeah. That's when they're
they're
like,
like,
all right, we forgive you, man.
so we're gonna need someone to do that downhill because Gabriella
Right.
almost died.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was good. I thought that was fun. But then, so we fast forward now to when they're actually at the championship.
Mm-hmm.
And the first thing that popped into my notice, I guess you could say,
Okay.
was that she's like, oh, ESPN, or one of them is like, oh, ESPN.
Yeah.
And so I paused the movie at that moment, right? Because, you know,
Mhm.
Disney owns ESPN.
Right.
And they didn't create it. It was
Right.
in
It was already a
existence
thing.
and they bought it, right?
Right.
And so as soon as I saw that, I was like, they must have bought ESPN very recently.
Oh, did they?
I paused it and I Googled it immediately. And Google says it was 2 years after Disney bought ESPN that Brink came out.
So they
So
bought it
in 96.
2006.
Yeah, they bought it in 96.
96.
And then, 2 years later. And but when you think
I mean-
about it, Brink was probably being written
Probably.
in 96 or
Yeah.
97. So they had
Yeah.
just bought it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it was being filmed in 96, 97. Maybe even as early as 96 they started shooting.
Yeah.
But it was definitely being written at least.
Mhm.
So it's like, it's just so funny. It's
Casting,
like
maybe.
immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, we just bought ESPN, so now we can use it
So we can use
in our
it.
IP.
Yeah.
Just like other movies and stuff, we'll talk
Mhm.
about ABC randomly, and you're like,
Yeah.
that must be when they
Yeah.
bought
You're
ABC.
like, that's probably close to when they bought it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So then, they're doing their skating, and then I kind of already talked about it. That my
Mhm.
last, there's 2 more notes that I have here, and then we're kind of free range till the end.
Your iPad locked, so I can't
Oh,
actually
that's
see the notes.
oh yeah.
anymore.
I can unlock that for you real quick.
Here you
Not
go.
that it's like critical that this happens, but it's actually updating. So
Oh. That's okay. You can just.
yeah, I mean,
Just
it's
read the
yeah,
notes,
it's
it's
fine.
fine.
So the note that I had was that Val and Arnie have close-ups during all of their skating sessions
Yeah.
in the championship. So I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure they were actually skating.
Yeah.
Maybe they weren't like doing inverted 540s or anything, but
Mhm.
they were definitely like skating.
Skating.
Because
Yeah.
you were getting close up with
Yeah.
them, like closer than that camera is to me right now.
Yeah.
um,
I mean, like skating across the bowl and stuff. You got close-ups of like Brink too.
but only as he was moving across.
Yeah.
Only like
Not like doing
as he was
tricks and stuff. Though.
basically skating in a straight line is when you
Yeah.
get the close-ups of everyone else.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Val, it was like he would be in the middle of something.
Yeah. Like a trick of something.
Yeah,
Like
and you would get a
grinding.
nice close-up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was. I already talked about that a lot, but
Mhm.
but then the last note that I have here, and I don't know why it's the last note. I think it must have. I don't know when I was writing because I wrote the notes in the second watch, so it was like I was
Yeah.
falling asleep,
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of. But yeah, so what was really funny is that they're trying to get to the finals,
Yeah,
right?
which is the downhill course.
And so far G-Force is beating them, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we're not gonna win if this G-Force guy scores better than a 95 or whatever. And literally they say that, and about 2 seconds later he's been
out.
On it all day is what they say, and then all of a sudden he wipes out, and I'm like,
that's convenient.
So was that.
Did that beep again?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry.
No, don't be sorry. But then more stuff happened though a little bit. Not really a lot, but his dad finally shows up because he hasn't been there the whole time.
Well, he has a meeting about his getting back to the construction site.
Right, because up until this point, it's kind of like up in the air whether he's actually going to have the job anymore.
Yeah.
And then right before Brink goes out for his final street session, I think, or no,
it's
the half pipe.
Half pipe.
Or the vert. The vert is what they call it.
Yeah, yeah.
Right before the vert, he's up there getting ready to go, and his dad shows up, and he goes like, thumbs up.
He's like,
thumbs down, and his dad's like, oh well, thumbs up, brother.
Yeah,
I got the job.
Yeah.
Start on Monday.
Yeah.
And then of course he goes on to score like a 97 or something.
I think it's like a 98.
Yeah, he scores a high number, and you're like, convenient.
Also, one of my favorite lines that Katie says is like, before his first street run, he's like, after his first street run.
Yeah,
and
he
falls and
yeah,
and she's like, hey, I've got some advice for you. Skate better.
He's like,
like,
skate better.
Mom, skate better.
Yeah.
I was like, that was probably
awesome.
my first like time hearing sarcasm ever in my life, and I was like, that's funny. I'm gonna do that all the time.
Yeah, and it's become a habit to a fault.
A habit.
Yes.
I'm not gonna say what I was gonna say.
Yeah, but so then their team, because the G-Force guy happened to fall. Actually, I guess that's after Brink's thing.
No, he falls before Brink goes.
No, he goes before Peter. He falls before Peter goes.
Oh, yeah.
Peter's the last one to go.
Peter's the last one.
And then Peter miraculously scores a 97.
Because he hits the inverted 540.
Did Peter score higher than Brink?
No, he's like 1 point
Why
less.
didn't he score higher than Brink? He did inverted 540. All Brink did was 3 back-to-back 540s.
But no, Brink did a...
he did the coping
trick. I'm trying to think of the number.
Oh, the 900.
900, yeah.
Yeah.
He did
2.5 turns.
Yes. Yeah, he did the 2.5.
Yes. You're right. Okay, so that's fair.
But I think Peter should have, because his was a 540 upside down.
Right. Way cooler.
And he landed high on the ramp, they said. So
yeah, whatever that means.
Higher score.
It was cool. But yeah, so then of course that puts them into the finals, and they get to do the downhill, and basically like Val's like, I'm gonna kill you because of reasons.
Because of reasons.
And then and then they go.
Unalive you.
I'm gonna unalive you. So then they go and they go to. Oh gosh! Then they go do their thing. They go to the top of the hill, and then they give each other like looks back and forth, and I'm like, stop. I'm like either make out or
right. I was like, stop flirting with each other.
For real. You're like, guys, this is weird. But then they go and go, and then they start going, and Brink. Neither one of them looked like they were as aerodynamic as they could have been.
No.
I felt like they could have tucked a little tighter.
A little tighter for sure.
But then Brink takes an early lead, and of course Val can't have that.
Yeah, Val has to win, so he's like, how can I sabotage this?
He starts making messes of things.
And then again, he manipulates Brink.
Yeah, because
he knows that if someone gets hurt, Brink's gonna stop and help them.
What's funny is that he's basically like, my only chance to win this is just to barrel right through this barrel of hay down here. Kaboof! And he's like, what if you had hurt yourself? Like, actually.
What if you actually hurt yourself?
You could have really, there was like a hill behind that.
I do my own stunts. It's fine.
Yeah. So then he falls and he hits the bales of hay, and then Brink is like, come on, man, I can't win like this. Give me your hand. Yeah. And he was like, I can't win like this. And he was like, yeah, I was kind of counting on that. And then he pulls him down. Yeah. I think that was the first time I ever saw that move happen.
Yeah, he's like, you never learned to finish a race, did you? And he's like,
I guess not.
Yeah, and then he's like, pulls him down.
Kind of counting on that.
Yep.
But then I'm pretty sure, so like he starts swinging at Brink. Oh no, maybe it was before that he starts swinging at Brink.
Yeah, he's like trying to push him
He,
off
like
the course.
hits him into the vans
Yeah.
and stuff. Oh, because Brink falls down, and so then Val gets back around it, but then Brink starts
Yeah.
catching up with him, so he starts like hitting him
Yeah.
into the van.
Yeah.
And when that doesn't work, that's when he decides to jump into the.
That's when he's like, "Oh, I'll just hurt myself because I know he'll stop."
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like Val very obviously cheated with aggression, right?
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure, 99% sure, when Brink takes that shortcut, that felt like cheating too.
That felt like cheating as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to cut the
Pretty
course.
sure, but
You can't do that in NASCAR.
But I think they just kind of like,
They're like, well, he
Um,
kind of tried to kill him, so
"Did you
that's
guys-
fine.
guys, the camera's cut out for a second.
ESPN's new cameras, but they would never
But they
blame it on
caught-
ESPN because
They caught Val pulling Brink down
yeah.
in the
Yeah, we
cameras
got
and
him.
stuff.
Oh, and then it's so fun to watch everyone turn on Val at the end of the race because Brink
Yeah.
ends up winning,
Mm-hmm.
and then everyone's like, "You cheated, Val! You cheated! You're a
They're
cheater!
like,
You're nothing
"We
but a
can't."
cheater!"
Yeah, and then Jimmy, the ex-Blade manager, is like, "You're out, kid." Brink.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
And then Brink's like, "I've skated for X-Blades once, and it wasn't any fun." And I'm like, "Okay, but like, pause for a second."
He's
Brink.
He's like a skater, but like he's trying to sound like a surfer.
That was
That's, like, the
exactly how I
vibe
felt
that
the
he
whole
gives.
time. But so like I was like, okay, but here's the thing, Brink. Okay, the reason it wasn't any fun is because Val was your team captain.
Yeah.
If you went over there and you were the team captain, it would be
It
fun.
would be fun.
You'd
And
be-
you, because
and you
we
could
know
bring your
you'd
friends
bring
over.
all your friends.
Yeah, you
'Cause
gotta have
they're
backups.
just as good as you are.
Yeah,
Like,
why not have an 8-person skate team? Y'all can take turns. It's
take
fine.
turns? Obviously.
That was the other thing I thought was funny. Is like these are very strict 4-person teams.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I guess there's only like 4 events though, so
I guess, but
I guess
like,
they all compete though.
they did. The only event that they didn't all compete in was the downhill.
The downhill, yeah,
And even then, it's like you could totally do that as a relay.
for sure.
Yeah.
That should have been a relay,
Yeah.
honestly.
And it's
But-
it's weird that like you can just sub people out, like,
Yeah,
because that's what they were talking about doing earlier. Was
yeah,
like
yeah.
replacing him with someone who can't really skate, and then they'll just
They're
sub
like,
in
we'll
for
just
him every
switch
time.
ourselves out. It's
Yeah.
fine.
But
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, happy ending. They get all
Yes.
together, and then
Yeah.
Brink and his friends are all the
Team Pup and
Team
Suds.
Pup and Suds.
Yeah.
And it's like there's the Soul Skaters, but
Yeah.
it's so good. I enjoyed it
Yeah.
overall. I think it was a really, really.
I
It-
think it's still a
It
really
held
good
up really
movie.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For
I think-
being 25 years old,
Yeah.
it's still pretty young.
Exactly. I was like, that's pretty good. I liked it. I liked it a lot still. I see when we started this, I kind of realized as we were going that it wasn't so much a review. So I'm gonna change the name of this whole
Yeah.
thing. It's not
just
really
like-
a review. It's more like just rewatch,
Rewatch and like discussion.
rewatch, breakdown, discussion. Yeah.
Like
And honestly, that's probably what I wanted to do the whole time. I just couldn't couldn't verbalize
articulate
it.
it, yeah.
I have a hard time articulating what
say-
I mean sometimes, but.
yeah.
But yeah, so is there anything about the movie that you want to throw out real quick before we wrap things up here? Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. It's still a really good movie. Watching Brink take on all that stuff, I was like, reevaluate my life. Let's cut down a little bit.
Felt a little bit attacked right there.
Yeah. So from me or from the movie?
The movie. You felt attacked from
yes,
the movie.
I did.
Yeah.
A little bit. And it's like things that people have been telling me for a long time. I'm so sorry I didn't listen to you. Like, also I knew. Sorry, I'm cracking my knuckles because I'm
That's
nervous.
okay.
Also, I know I do too much stuff, but
Yeah.
also it's like one thing is so that I can pay my bills.
Right.
the-
Bills are important.
The
to pay.
other thing is because I love doing it.
Right.
So like working in the theater and being a theater and dance teacher is like what I love to do.
Right.
and
But
then
it just doesn't quite pay the
working-
bills.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like just under
See-
the level of paying my bills. Although I did pay off a really big bill.
Well, that's excellent.
Was that last
Oh yeah,
month?
no, this a couple weeks ago. I guess it would have been last month.
I feel like it was like middle
very end of
middle
last
of
month.
September. It was
Yeah.
before my birthday.
Oh, was it?
Yes.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
Oh, didn't
Yeah.
feel like
It
it.
was like the beginning of September.
Okay.
Because so I paid off my car.
Yes.
I'll just say that. I'll just get it out of the way. Because my next payment was supposed to be on the 12th. And I paid it off before that.
Gotcha.
Because I had enough in my bank account. And I was like, if I don't do it now, it's going to stress me out for the rest of this year.
Yeah.
And so I was like, full send, my dude. Let's go. And I still had a little bit of money left over. And I was super proud of myself.
Excellent.
Because it was kind
That's
of a big thing. But
Yeah.
So now.
See, it's funny that you say that, like, that you, like, keep doing the theater because you love it, but, like, the job that you have is, like, because you need more to pay off the bills.
Yeah.
And you're, like, stressed out because you're doing a lot, right? And I'm like, I kind of fell on the opposite side of that fence where I needed a job to pay my bills, and it even to this point, it has taken kind of priority over doing the things that I really enjoy doing. Like, I haven't done theater and haven't been on stage since Scrooge 2019, I think.
Right.
And so I'm like, I really want to get back on the stage, but I'm too deep. Like, I'm in a position where I can't really just do that right now. Yeah. But that's also part of why I started the podcast, because it is some time that I can take out and do something that I enjoy doing.
Right. And it's still like a performance.
Yeah.
In a way, too.
In a way. I'm not scripted and I'm not so much acting, but I'm putting on a show, I hope. Well, maybe. I don't know. I pretend to be a lot happier than I'm just kidding. No, that's at work. Right, work is when I'm acting the most.
I never talk this much, so.
Yeah.
I feel like I am acting.
When I'm at work sometimes, maybe you shouldn't say this, but I'm going to anyway. But sometimes I'm having a bad day, but like I always put on the face, you know.
I mean,
and I'll be like,
honestly, you
like,
have to.
Thank you. Here's your change. Have a great day.
In customer service, you have to.
I have this big old smile on my face, and the second they turn away, I'm just like super straight face, like
right. Honestly.
And like the other day, I was like, I can feel myself getting drained every time I do that. Like, I'm putting out so much positivity that like I'm starting to get tired, like physically tired.
Right.
But anyway.
Yeah, I feel that too. And like, I feel like in customer service, you almost like, for me personally, I've noticed this recently, like depending on how a customer reacts to me or like what's happening in the situation, it affects my whole day. Because like if it's a bad experience, like I had one the other day, broke into tears, it's fine. It happens. But like I fester on that all day, and I know I shouldn't. Yeah. But like in the back of my head, it just lives there because I don't know. There's something scientifically, I don't know what it is. I don't do a lot of science. Anyway, but it's like, I wish that the good interactions would stick in my brain as much as the bad interactions. Right. But like, I don't know. I don't, like the good ones do stick in my brain still, but like the bad ones are just like it just lives in my head rent free. Right. It just chills back there. And it sets up camp, and you're like, can you just? And I'm like I'm still thinking this event happened on Friday, and I'm still thinking about it today because it messed with my head so much, and like I'm trying not to think about it, but like but it's just stuck there. But that's why we're here. That's why we're here. I'm tired of being in it. I'm tired of those things. So that's why I wanted to make the podcast and relive my childhood, ignite my childlike wonder. Yes. I want to be a kid. Yeah. For a couple hours. If I'm being completely honest, and again, you can cut this if you need to. No, I'm not cutting nothing. I didn't watch the movie until like 11 o'clock last night. Fair enough. And then I popped in my earbud while I was at work, and I was like, just listen to the audio real quick. Yeah. So that's what I did. And then on my lunch break, I was like, all right, watch the video. Okay, got it. So yeah, there you go. It wasn't until yesterday that I was like, I gotta watch this. Honestly, same. And that's most of it's like, because I gotta make sure I'm on this. I work all week. Yeah. You know, like I work 8 to 9 hour shifts all week. And then a lot of the time I go to my next job, which is at the theater. Right. And I'm there. This last week I was there from, most days I was there from like 3 or 4 in the afternoon until 10 or 11 at night. Yeah. Because we had tech rehearsal for the show that I'm currently in. Gotcha. That will be over by the time this podcast comes out. So. Oh, shucks. It's okay. Bump my microphone. Nice. So, and then like Friday was opening night for our show. So we have, okay. But yeah, I felt that. I was like, yesterday I was like, I really need to watch this. I really wanted to watch it like 4 or 5 times. Honestly, to really catch some things, but it's all right. But I think we still did good. I think this podcast would have been 3 hours if we for sure. If we kept up and watched it so many more times, I would have way more notes, I'm sure. Right. Yeah. But yeah, so that is Brink 25 years later, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully we've encouraged you to go out and watch it.
I'll try to remember to post on Instagram before we do the next one. But I think the next one is would be You Lucky Dog, which I honestly don't
Is that the one
remember
with,
if I've seen it before.
What's his name?
Kyle Massey. No.
Wait, You Lucky Dog?
Yeah.
What one am I thinking of? With oh gosh, what's his name? Hold on, it's in the back of my head.
I'm not sure. Well, I'll
From
announce
Left
what the next
Behind.
one is. Wait, which one?
The guy from Left Behind.
Kurt Cameron.
Kurt Cameron, yeah. Isn't that You Lucky Dog?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it is.
We'll find out. But I believe that's what's next because I just went to the end of Disney Plus and I'm working my way backwards.
Okay.
So it was Brink and then You Lucky Dog. And so that's what we're going to do next. I'll try to remember when we're going to do it next so you guys can watch it before the podcast comes out with us. So you kind of have a better idea maybe. Unless you already know what was happening this whole time, then ignore me. But yeah, so Marci's an actor, and I don't know if that was important for what I was going for. Oh yeah, I'm just getting to the closing statements. Instagram, the podcast is available on Spotify and Apple Music. Oh no, I can literally say that every time. It's Apple Podcasts, not Apple Music. You can find it by typing in the search bar Noah Parker's World of Wonder. And you can find the video version on YouTube by going to our YouTube channel, which is at Noah Parker _channel. You can type that in the search bar, or you can just type youtube.com/at Noah Parker _channel. And that will take you there to see the video version of the podcast. You can also follow the podcast on Instagram and TikTok at Noah Parker's World of Wonder. And I think that is it. I'm trying to think if I have any other closing remarks I need to say. I think that's it. So,
are you still on the other third platform for podcasts?
No.
No? Okay.
That one broke. I don't know what's wrong with it. I can't access any of the podcasts anymore. I can't pull them down. I can't put more up.
Oh. Okay.
So yeah,
Sorry,
Castbox is out. Sorry about it, but most people use Spotify or Apple Podcasts anyway. So except for that one person that doesn't, but he can adapt.
You can send him a recording.
Yeah, exactly. I'll just send him an audio file. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, so that does it for us today, guys. I don't know what next week's podcast is just yet, but stick around and come check it out next Friday. And until then, let the wonder take hold.